Today I'm going to show you how to change the oil on a 2018 Toyota Tacoma. This is a third generation Toyota Tacoma, so that's between model years 2016 and 2020. This particular model is the V6 3.5 liter. As previous Tacomas in the past, the oil change is basically the same. The only big difference is the oil filter. Previous generations had the oil filter right on top of the engine. Your typical frame, you would just unscrew it and toss that and replace it. Now they moved on to the new canister ones. This oil filter is at the bottom of the engine. It's basically a canister. You're going to have to unscrew the cap, let that drop, replace the actual filter medium, put in a new filter medium, put the cap on, and you're good to go. It's not that complicated. We're going to go through it step by step, and I'll show you how to do it. So follow along, and by the end of this video, you'll be able to change your oil, no problem. And also, I'm going to show you how to reset the maintenance light within the cab. Again, that's a little bit different. Now that these new Tacomas have so much computerized and digital equipment, it's going to be a little bit different, but it's still very straightforward. Okay, so quickly let's go over what you're going to need for this oil change. This particular model, the 3.5 liter V6, requires 6.1 quarts of oil if you don't have a tow package, and 6.2 quarts of oil if you do have a tow package. That's the manufacturer recommendations. I bought two 5-quart jugs of Mobil 1. The manufacturer recommends 0.820 oil for these engines. And then I picked up a Fram synthetic filter. This particular model for Fram was the XG9972. Now to get underneath, you're going to have to take off the rock guard. So this 12mm socket, there's 4 bolts, and that rock guard will come right off. You're also going to need a 14mm socket. This is for the actual drain plug coming off the bottom of the engine. Then you're going to need some kind of oil fill mechanism. And then your typical oil catch. And as always, try to lay some kind of sheet or old towel on, because you're always going to drip some oil and you don't want that to get on your concrete floors. So that's the basics of the materials that you're going to need for this particular oil change. Now let's get to it. Okay, so this is the skid plate. We got 4 bolts, 2 there, and there's 2 close to the bumper. 1 there and 1 there. You're going to want to remove those. Okay, so obviously it's a precarious situation being underneath the truck. But once those 4 bolts are out, there's 2 hooks in front of the bumper. You're going to kind of want to lift that skid plate up, out, and then yank it down. And those 2 squares, those are the 2 hooks are connected to. So make sure you release those from the hooks, and the skid plate will slide right out. Okay, so just quickly, that's the oil filter. It's at the bottom of the engine. We're going to use our 1/4" drive later to loosen up that washer nut and take that off. And secondly, that's our oil drain plug. That's also at the bottom of the engine towards the rear. Okay, now you're going to use your 14mm socket and loosen up the drain plug. Be careful here. If you loosen it too fast, the oil is going to get all over your hands. So take your time. It's all about feel. Okay, so the oil actually exploded once I took out that drain plug. I had to slide my oil catch over just a bit. It came out extremely fast, and it actually trickled for quite some time afterwards. So as I stated, the oil filters on the 2016 and up Tacomas, it's a whole different style now. There's aluminum canisters in there, and you have to actually replace the filter medium itself. So these actually come with 2 gaskets now, a filter drain plug, an actual instruction manual, and this is the new filter medium that's going to be replaced. Alright, so now I'm going to show you how to take apart the old one, replace these gaskets, utilize this drain plug, and how this all works. Okay, so I gave it a solid 10 minutes to drain. I'm going to slide my oil catch out the way. This is my drain plug. It's all cleaned up. I clean where it's going to go. Wipe it down one more time. And then you screw it back in. Now, if you have a torque wrench, I believe it was 19 or 29 Newton meters of torque, but I don't have one. So I always just hand tighten it and then make it a little bit more with my wrench. Okay, so now to remove the drain port on the oil filter, all you have to use is your 1/4 inch drive. It goes right into that little washer. Loosen it. And then you should be able to loosen it further with your fingers. Okay, and now for the drain plug, the new feature of this oil filter. So that comes in the kit. You basically just screw that right into the bottom of the oil filter, and it actually pre-drains the filter for you, so it cuts down on the mess. It's actually pretty neat. Now, I don't know what they torqued on this oil filter cover back at the factory, but it was a pain to get this off. You're going to at least need one of these filter wrenches, but it was quite the undertaking to get this thing off. Alright, so this is the oil filter. As I stated earlier, it's in like a containment plastic thing now. That's the new design. There's still some oil left over. Pour that out. Take out the old filter medium. And there you have it. Now there's going to be a gasket right here that the oil filter kit comes with. We're going to replace this gasket. At the very bottom. Let's clean this all up first. So there's the old gasket. Just take that right off. Get rid of that. And as I stated, it comes with one right in here. Let's take a little bit of the old. You want to put a little bit of oil in this just so it's a little bit easier to manage. You don't got to go crazy. And then you're just going to slide that right over. And there's a little right down there, all the way down. Slide your gasket down into there, okay? Good. This is the new filter. They're both the same size, doesn't matter which way it goes in. There's nothing determining top or bottom, okay? So slide that in. Give it a little push, you're going to hear a little click, and your assembly's all set to be installed back into your truck. Now this gasket here, this is going to go back on with this once we get that all set up. Alright? Okay, so once your filter's put back together, you can hand tighten it back in its place. Then you're going to use your filter wrench and do a little bit more than hand tight, and you should be good. Okay, now grab that second smaller gasket. Again, put a little bit of oil on it, not too much. It sits right in there. Then you get that aluminum washer cap, hand tighten it first, and then you can use your 1/4 inch drive again, and again, just a little bit more than hand tight. Okay, so once the bottom of the engine's buttoned up and tight, now we can fill it with oil. So these are 5-quart jugs. I told you in the beginning that this truck takes 6 quarts. So you can just let that first 5 quarts flow down there and fill it up. Now once you finish that first 5 quarts, you can pull out your funnel. Make sure you don't make a mess. And I always like to check the dipstick right now, just to see where the oil actually is within the engine. So you always pull it out, give it a good wipe first, reinsert it, and then pull it out again to get your reading. And make sure it clicks so you get a proper reading. Now there's 2 dots on the dipstick. They might be hard to see right here. The second dot is actually the full, and anything below the first dot is too low. Alright, so this is a 5 quart jug. A lot of these jugs actually have a measurement right on the side if you see quart. Alright, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and above there is the 5th quart. So I'm going to add an extra half of a quart. Alright, so you can see my line of my oil is right about there. So I'm going to try to bring it right about here just to add a little bit more. And then I'm going to check the dipstick one more time and I should be good. Alright. And with my oil fill right here, I actually have a mark for 1 quart. So half of that is 1 pint right here. So I'm just going to fill this up real quick to there and I should be good. And always remember to put the oil fill cap back on. So many people forget to do that. Start the engine up. Next thing you know, there's oil all over your engine bay. Don't forget. Check your dipstick one last time. Now a lot of people in the Tacoma world have issues with this because of the 0820 oil. Barely sticks to these and it's super clear, so it's actually hard to read. Now, like I said, the Toyota manufacturer recommends 6.1 to 6.2 quarts for this engine. Obviously, when you change the oil, not all the oil is going to escape that engine cavity. So we already added 5 quarts and an extra half. We're at 5.5 quarts. So I'm assuming this dipstick's going to read well. And there's no giant oil mess on the bottom of my truck. So it's very hard to read, but I can see that the oil is right to that top mark, so we are good. Again, very hard to read. You're probably not going to see it on the camera because it's super clear. But we know we added 5.5 quarts, so we're right where we need to be. So I'm going to put the skid plate back on. As I was showing you earlier, this is a skid plate. They have these 2 squares right here. There's actually hooks right coming off the chassis. You kind of want to slide them under the hooks and grab them, and that holds it in place so you're able to screw in the 4 screws. So I don't have too much space to work with, but let's try to make this happen here. So this is obviously a precarious situation. You just want to get that first bolt in there. Once that's in, the other 3 are fairly easy to get. And that's all 4 bolts. Again, take your 12mm socket wrench and tighten all 4 of those, and then you'll be good to go. All right, so the last step to reset the maintenance light, you're gonna press your start button 2 times. That puts you in accessory mode. All right, it's gonna start up. Go back. Your settings mode. Press OK. Maintenance reset, gonna press OK. Reset, go up, and again, press OK. Maintenance reset complete. Okay, now you can start your vehicle. And as you can see, the maintenance light is gone. Very good. All right, so once the light is reset, turn on your vehicle, let it run for a few minutes, check underneath to see if you have any leaks. And there you have it. So I hope this video was very informative. I tried my best to give you step-by-step process of how to change the oil on a 2016 to 2020 V6 3.5 Tacoma. So if you're into any carpentry, DIY, construction, how-to, or basic vehicle repair and maintenance, do me a favor and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.